Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight I'm delighted to be joined by Teesside thrash groove metal band TrendKill. Tonight we've got guitarist Johnny and we've got vocalist Ali as well. Now, drummer Corey and bassist Jordan are too camera shy, but that's okay then, we can just talk about them behind their backs. So how guys, how are things with you? Have you been okay through all this COVID nonsense? You haven't had it or anything?
I haven't, funnily enough.
You've not caught it, Johnny.
You've had it a couple of times.
Yeah, I've had it once in January. I sort of had I guess like a few days of feeling a bit naff, and then I kind of got over it really. So I guess I'm fortunate in that sense. But it's flipped everything upside down, like, for sure.
I know. And I mean, before I would have just sent you email interview questions, you know, whereas I had a life coach as well during COVID, and it was just overcoming fear. And my fear was talking to bands face to face. Now I've got my own YouTube channel and done like over 100 interviews now. So COVID does have its pluses. But yeah, we're not here to talk about COVID. We're here to talk about all things TrendKill then. So already this year, you've released 2 singles, namely Blinded by Fate and Poison the Well. So how did it feel to finally get the new songs out there for the masses to hear?
Johnny, what do you think?
Yeah, so it was pretty sweet. It's when did we record? Blinded were recorded back in January. I think it was 2020 or 2021. I think. I don't know, those 2 years are a blur, like. But yeah,
systems going.
I think January 2021, and then we didn't get the video done until like the end of the year, and then now we've just been like caning it, and there's lots of stuff on the stockpile ready to come out.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask then. So those songs quite old. Could you have released these like? Could you have released both of them like a year ago, or is Poison Well like a relatively new song?
So Poison we recorded quite recently, but like it's been around for about 3 or 4 years, just like rough, and like there's been about 10 or more different configurations of it. It's been pretty, but then he finally settled it.
Yeah.
We'd sort of Johnny, for that song in particular, he'd sort of sent like a load of riffs and stuff for like that's basically that song, but it wasn't necessarily like in the structure of a song, was it? And we kind of just sort of moved everything around and stitched it together, and that's sort of what it ended up being. But like they say, like a song's never finished, it's just released. You know what I mean? Like you could work on it forever, but we got to a point where we thought, you know, this is the sort of stuff we're wanting to put out.
Yeah,
you know? And that's sort of where we're at.
Yeah, we can always mess around with it live. That's what shows for.
No, cool. And for those that have heard the new material, who haven't heard the new material, how would you say it compares to your last EP, Black Moon? And do you think you've found the sound that you've been looking for with the latest songs?
It's getting there sound wise, but compared to Black Moon, it's a different beast, I would say. Like we're actually putting. Well, I say like we've always struggled to put time into it because we've always been like having to do like hour slots in the studio or something, and we did Black Moon ourselves, like Teesside Uni, so we recorded it ourselves, but it was just like getting like hour slots here and there, and it took forever to do. Whereas this time we just paid a dude and just got it done in a wanna.
What do you think about the sound, Ali?
Say that again, sorry, mate.
What do you think about the sound compared to the EP and stuff?
Definitely. I mean, so these guys, when I joined them, they'd sent us all of the material from that EP and sort of songs that they'd recorded as well.
Yeah. And
I sort of liked that blend of thrash and groove metal. Like I thought that really worked well. And sort of since then, I feel we encompass a lot of that sound, but now we're branching out into sort of other places as well, and it's sort of keeping it pretty interesting. And I think that we've certainly found a sound or close to what it's going to be on these recent releases. But I think that from all of the practices we've had recently in recording and such, I think we're certainly going to be looking at all different avenues of where we can take it and see where it goes, really.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, You said like the two new songs are like 1 or 2 years old already. So I presume being in a band, you never stop writing. So have the songs progressed that a wee bit more again? Have they changed the sound a wee bit again, or is it relatively the same formula?
It just sort of depends, because we don't always write a song in the same way, do we, really, Johnny?
I guess we're still sort of in the phase where we have to like spread out what we're doing. Just we need to find whichever one works best, but we haven't released enough songs to find that sound yet, really, have we?
Yeah.
I need to pump out an album at some point. EP first.
but more because we were kind of like, when I first joined, you had written a lot of stuff, and I'd written a fair amount of stuff, and it was sort of like, well, we've got some full songs here that were written by one person, or we've got these songs from band practice where we've jammed together and we've come together. So it's sort of hard to know like to find what our exact sound is, because like Johnny says, you know, we've not necessarily got had to experiment with as much material to sort of work that out quite yet. But I feel like that's a good thing. I feel like that there's potential for more evolution of our sound and things like that. So
cool. Well, particularly with the two new singles, Blended by Fate, I picked up a wee bit of like Trivium and Machine Head, and also Poison the Well. I picked up quite a bit of Pantera as well. So you'll always have your thrash metal, but you'll always have the groove. So that's what gets people moving on the dance floor, eh? But Ali, is Johnny the type of guy that would send you a riff at 4 o'clock in the morning saying this is my best riff yet, by the way?
Absolutely. On Facebook Messenger as an audio clip, he wouldn't email it to you. It would just be banged straight into that Facebook Messenger chat. Isn't that right, Johnny?
Well, I just like record it on my phone. I'm just like, hey, how's this? And then it has to survive the memory test, because like it's not the same. Like when you write a riff on, like when you write a song on a DAW, it just doesn't hit the same. I mean, it does. It's just like the drums. It needs the drums, pretty much.
So I take it in the olden times, you would have just brought your riffs to the rehearsal space, but now because of COVID, you've had to diversify, and Facebook Messenger recording is brand new. It's a useful tool, yeah.
Yeah, it's handy actually. With the songs we did over lockdown, with Obsession and Blinded, you can tell it's like 10 songs in one, because it's like all of our backlog material sort of just getting pushed out at once. But they're going to be a bit more sort of paced now, and like proper, less all over the place. But although we are still going to write like that. But
cool.
Well, you never know what's going to come out.
So you've already said that you're not going to stop writing. So is it going to be an EP your next release, or have you thought about doing an album? Is it just too costly to do an album, or you just want to get everything right first and then concentrate on an album?
Well, I got told off with drummer for talking about releases before we're meant to, but you know, he can get knotted basically. So, but just to let you, basically, we're releasing an EP, hopefully in the summertime.
Okay.
Be a 4-track EP, and
is it going to contain the 2 new songs as well, or the 2 songs that you've just released?
Four new songs.
Good.
4 new songs. Yeah.
Good. Well, as you can probably see behind me, we've got Moshville Times and we've got Moshville Radio. So we do everything from indie to extreme metal. I play like mainly death metal on a Thursday night, for example, but Mark, for example, Shells, he plays like thrash metal on a Tuesday night. So if you've got like an MP3 or anything like that, send it to us and we'll play it on the show and we'll put it on the playlist as well. So we'll certainly do our bit for TrendKill and promoting it. So send us an MP3.
Certainly appreciate that.
No worries at all. No worries at all. There was something I was going to ask. Yeah. So with everything that's happened over the last 18 months, 2 years, then has it made you look at the more business side of the band? Like, have you currently taken on new roles that you didn't think you would ever do, like marketing and merch and all the rest of it, or are you always quite a hands-on kind of band anyway, or have you came across any new roles?
We've been doing we've had to sort of, really, haven't we, Johnny? It's sort of
the first tune struck. Like, I don't think we had met at that point when we released that. Like, you recorded them. We already had the track because we did the drums me and Corey recorded the drums ourselves, and then I did the guitars at home, and then we sent the track to you. And yeah,
I haven't even met you yet.
so, but no.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you. So with the recording of the two singles then, was there anything that you'd done differently when recording Black Moon? And will there be anything that you'll do differently with what you'll do with the next EP?
I'll say
so.
You go.
So for Black Moon, obviously you just sort of discussed the sort of recording process for that. But we for those two recent singles, we went to Ritual Sound Studio just outside of Northallerton. Sam, he's a fantastic producer. Okay. I think for you guys were saying it was a bit of a step up, wasn't it, in terms of the
yeah, definitely
in terms of the quality. And the good thing with Sam was as well is we would sort of go there with our guide tracks for Corey to record his drums, and then once Corey had recorded his drums, you take your guide tracks out, and then Johnny would be re-recording his guitar. You do your vocals, lead guitar, bass, etc. But Sam is, has really good input when
we always,
it comes to the sort of the structure of the song, or if it needed something here or there. It was sort of a big part of those songs kind of becoming the way that they did. I'm pretty sure for Blinded by Face, the second chorus was going to be in standard time, and I think he said to change it at halftime, didn't he? And it makes it like the impact of the song is completely different as a consequence of that. So
we always throw go into Sam's studio. It's like throwing the song into a blender. It's like you take this like fairly decent song and then shot it into Sam's studio and see what comes out the other end.
Yeah.
So really, he's like the fifth member of the band then.
He certainly has been for a recent releases for sure.
Yeah. So do you think that will be something that you'll do again with the next EP? Like go back to him, or are you going to try something different?
In all honesty, we've like you were mentioning before, having to look at the business side of things in the band a little bit more. We're all skint. We've got no money because we're absolutely funneling it into everything, and as a consequence, we've had to look at doing things a little bit cheaper. So Sam recorded all of our drums for the EP, but because we've got recording software at home, and we basically, to sort of try and save money really, is do the drums, like record the drums properly, and then record all of the guitars, bass and vocals ourselves, because we've sort of got a half reasonable setup, and then we've sort of sent that off to be mixed and mastered basically to sort of try and keep costs down, because when you're going to track guitars, bass and vocals for an EP, you don't necessarily want to constrain yourself too much to time. And you don't necessarily want to be feeling like you're rushing through a song just to get it done. And at least this way we're sort of saving a little bit of money that can go into other things, but the songs get the time and attention that that they need really.
Yeah. But it's one thing when you get this, like when you go to Sam's, it's like it's awesome, and he always does a mint job. It's just but you got to get it right on the day. If you're on like a bad day and you're there, it's like, well, it's gonna have to do.
Yeah, true.
It's a shame it comes down to money, but that's what it always does, doesn't it? So, but yeah, I also see that you've got a new bassist called Jordan. So how easy or difficult was it to get him, and how has he been molded? How has he been molded into the TrendKill way? Has he fitted straight in? That wasn't easy to say, by the way. I couldn't get that right.
What easy for you to say, mate. I guess I asked Johnny, because I've known Jordan for quite a long time now, to be fair. So Johnny, what's your impression? Do you hate him as much as I do yet?
I like it. Like we're gelling well, I would say. I'm getting a lot done. It was just me, him, and Corey the other night. We're just tracking more guitar. Redid the solo for that other tune, by the way. Haven't you already? But no. But yeah, it seems to be going well. It's a bit of a weird sort of transition, because Isaac was in the band from like the very inception of it. But no, it seems to be going really well.
Yeah. I bet you still made him work for it though. You still got him in for like 2 auditions before you said yes, you're in the band. Or was it a hell of a lot easier than that?
Well, funnily enough, right, the sort of dilemma we had is that we changed bass players right in the middle of doing a lot of things. So it was sort of a, do we sort of find someone like happy to wait and do loads of auditions and maybe lose that momentum, or do we sort of think of people that we know already and think can they do the job? And I'd sort of played in bands with Jordan from like 2012, like a really long time, and he'd always been reliable. So I thought, well, you can do the job. And the first thing he did for it, he didn't even have a practice with me. He filled in for a music video shoot we had booked. So that was literally the first thing he did, and he smashed it, to be fair. No,
is he already bringing in ideas as well to the band as well then?
Yeah, definitely. He's it sort of helps that we've had that working relationship before, because we kind of know how each other work.
Yeah.
And as an extension of that, like I know that I like to think me, Johnny, and Corey also work well with each other, and I also know Jordan works well with me. So I think, well, why wouldn't it work? And it's kind of all just sort of gel together, spawn, really.
Yeah. Well, that kind of flows nicely on to my next question then. So when constructing new material and with the band members having their own personal taste in music, how would you say that you keep it all together? For example, when negotiating what stays in and what goes out of a song, is there a moody one in the band? Does somebody go in a huff if their riff isn't used or anything like that? Johnny?
I would say we're pretty. No, we have a trim the fat policy. So if it's like a good riff, but it's like it's only there to show off that it's a good riff, then you just cut it out. Like you know what I mean. It's like sometimes you just stick extra bits into the song just to be like, oh, this is sick, and it sort of fits, so you just add it in. But we try and refrain from that. But I don't think any of us are too precious. Corey sort of has like a filter, so he doesn't allow certain stuff if it's too light. he likes to bring the heaviness, but no, it's I don't think any of us are too precious, really. What would you say? I mean, yeah. From your impression,
I think we're all probably honest enough that if somebody played something that we were like, I'm not too sure about that. We're all kind of honest enough to do that, but none of us are really like have enough of an ego to kind of take it too personally, because we all want what's best for the music, really, don't we?
Yeah.
So we're happy to like, oh, maybe not, but why don't we try this? And you just keep working it until you get something you're happy with, really, innit?
So I take it nobody's left the rehearsal space and says, that's it, I'm going to phone my mum, I've had enough.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah.
No, cool. Ali, going to talk about yourself for a wee second then. So with you being the vocalist of the band then, do you take care of all the lyrics, or do you welcome contributions from other members of the band?
Since I've joined, I've written all the lyrics, but to be fair, I'm sure Johnny sent me a song just as I joined, and we were working on into a song, and it kind of got forgotten about, to be fair, but I really like that one. So
it's still about.
Yeah, if anything, I'm not really too fussed if somebody writes a good song with good lyrics. Like I'm all for it, really.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear what you come up with. To be honest, it was just like an oddball one that came out of the blue, but I'd say if you full in that department, you're in control.
I mean, it's definitely like an art form. I mean, it's something that I could never do, like write lyrics for a song. So it must be quite a bit of pressure off you, Johnny, for example, just Ali taking ownership of it.
Yeah.
But Ali, what would you say your lyrical themes are?
I try not to limit myself too much to it, to be honest. I like a lot of I don't know, like mythology, stuff like that. Maybe sort of more current events.
Yeah.
Things that are personal to me sometimes. It really doesn't matter too much, really. It could literally be about most things, to be fair.
I can see why you write them, but say, for example, the song that we were just talking about there that Johnny had written the lyrics for, is that where the problem lies? Like, he's writing the lyrics, but he can visualize you singing them, but to convey that to you can be sometimes quite difficult. How he sees you singing that song.
I don't think we've had so many times where that's happened, other than when we're in the studio and I've kind of written the lyrics already. To be honest, I think if, say, for example, for the song that Johnny wrote, I think that the song that Johnny wrote, if I remember right, was from the perspective of somebody that was being cremated, like if they were aware that they were still alive, kind of thing. And
oh yeah, it was weird, that one. I was at my uncle's like funeral. It was just, I don't know, it was odd. I just like, it just came out of nowhere. But
yeah, well,
I don't regularly write lyrics. That was like a one-off. That's like, I'm happy to. I like to write the riffs like conscious of the vocals going on top of them. So like I try and sort of think of melodies it can go over, but I'm happy to see what comes out, because then it's everyone gets to like 25%, and then the song's like not just one person. Because I hate listening to stuff that I've created on my own. It's just like, I don't know. It's better when it's more people.
No, listen, thanks very much for that, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem at all, man.
So as it's been a difficult 18 months, 2 years for bands for not playing any gigs, then did you think of doing like a visual gig or anything like that? Did you think of putting like a couple of cameras up in your rehearsal space and just releasing it on Facebook, for example?
I didn't, to be honest. I thought Mark Zuckerberg came after you if you did that now. I thought you weren't allowed to do that anymore. I thought they got taken down. If that's not true, though, I'll be well game for that. I've got no idea.
I mean, it's just like we say about the business name of the band. It's just keeping the name of the band out there. So it's just
the Machine Head does it, doesn't he? So we could.
Yeah.
We probably should do that.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's just another tool, isn't it? So, yeah, cool. So, but now that the world's beginning to open up again, then, so have you played gigs, and do you have any plans for gigs in the near future? I think you've played Leicester Metal to the Masses, is that right?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was pretty nice.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we were like
Everybody like launched a monitor across the stage. Well, like, not on purpose, but he like just like hit it with his arm and it flew onto the stage, and then it's just drum kit just fell apart in one of the songs. But I mean, it was fun. It was a good gig. Sounded mint as well.
Yeah, it was really good.
Out the front.
Was that your first gig in a while?
We did like a little mini tour last year, didn't we? On we did Bristol and Ipswich. That was good. We did Trillions in Newcastle earlier this year, didn't we? Oh,
we were the first band after COVID to play Trills. The very first.
Yeah.
And we opened as well. That was like 2021, 22. Jesus, that's 2 years here.
We did that Leicester one recently. We did Borough as well, Middlesbrough.
So it's been a few. Your gigs might be a wee bit spread out then, and you've just after playing Leicester, so it might have been like a few months before you played live before that. So who made the most mistakes?
I don't really know.
Probably.
I don't know, because to be fair, I think because of COVID, we were all pretty well rehearsed anyway. So when we went to do the gigs, we were pretty.
So you remembered your own lyrics?
Yeah, just about. Well, nobody knows what my lyrics are anyway. I sing what I want. You wouldn't even know.
Yeah, quite right. But is there opportunities for you to play gigs like further afield, or maybe even like further north? Have you been up to Scotland before?
Well, I am half Scottish.
I knew I liked you more than Johnny.
Good. Yeah, I get that.
I was in Scotland last week. Thank you very much. Well, I'm not Scottish, though, unfortunately.
You had a holiday the other week in Scotland, didn't you?
Was it Edinburgh you went to?
Well, actually, we stopped by Edinburgh, but Dunkeld.
I know you. If you get the weather up here, it's a lovely place, lovely scenery, and all the rest of it, and people are great, you know.
Spot
on. Aye, cool.
We played. Was it Bannerman's in Edinburgh quite a few times?
Yeah. So have you got plans for that?
Sick. They always give you like a stay above there as well.
Yeah. What was that? Sorry, you would like to go further north than that?
I want to play Glasgow.
I'd go wherever, me.
See if you've got the time and in the capacity to do it, I would urge you to go to Aberdeen. Now, I know that's a trek, but Aberdeen are the only, anytime bands come up to Scotland, they just do Glasgow and or Edinburgh. There's a scene in Dundee and there's a scene in Perth, even places like Inverness, they're screaming for gigs. So when a band comes up and plays, there's always a good scene, a good crowd, you know. So if you do have the capacity to do it, then yeah, I can get in touch with a couple of people as well. So
if there's a venue in Beer, we'll be there, mate.
Are you just a band that'll just play anywhere, anytime?
We're not particularly fussy, to be fair, mate. We just enjoy doing it, don't we, mate?
I mean, we never seem to even get our fuel money back, so I guess we do it out of the love of it. It's not like we always get like a percentage of our fuel money back.
Yeah.
But it's just we just like enjoy playing. It's good.
I think what COVID has also done is before you could be playing local shows to like 30 or 50 people or something like that, but because of COVID, there's no European or American acts coming over, so they're supporting the British scene and they're realising that the UK does have a really, really strong metal scene. So I've noticed it in Glasgow, the crowds have gone way up in the gigs that I've attended, you know, that would have got half the size before. So
yeah,
long may that continue, you know.
Everybody's ready for it, aren't they?
That's it. So who do you record and rehearse your songs in?
We've got our own practice room, don't we, Johnny?
Yeah, it's from Middlesbrough Steel.
So are you all quite close together then? So you can meet up twice a week if you wanted to?
We could, but we're not very close to each other, really, are we? Well, you live in Redcar to Newcastle. It's about an hour away?
About an hour.
Yeah.
We would just stick some tunes on, fly up the A19, and then have a jam and come back.
So I take it you just you would meet up like once a week and then twice if there's like gigs coming up, or would it be as often as that?
Pretty much, yeah. We do, or if we're doing recording or whatever, you might come a couple of times in a week, do a practice or whatever.
It must have been quite weird for you, Johnny, like you're all meeting in the rehearsal space for the first time in 18 months, 2 years or something like that, and you're like, who are you again? What instrument do you play?
Me, Corey and Isaac live like pretty much, well, like 5-10 minutes away from each other. So like for us, we were still seeing each other. Like, well, not during the heat of COVID, but like, you know, when they sort of let it up, we'd go to the pub and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it was a bit weird, like getting back, because we always had the issue of like a lot of the time it would just be me and Corey practicing. So like it's nice to have a full band of like firing on all cylinders.
It's quite easy for you as well, because you could just pick up the guitar and just write riffs. But see, during the 18 months, 2 years, were you ever like sick of the guitar and you just had it against the wall for a good few months and just put it away for a while, or were you always creative?
To be honest, it was sort of like I was always playing, but it was sort of when I was like, we were gigging quite a bit. It was sort of, I wasn't practicing as much at home, but since COVID, I feel like I've practiced more than ever. Like I feel like I'm tight again, like I should be, but I was getting a bit sloppy.
What about yourself, Ali? As you just heard there, Johnny can just pick up his guitar, but with you being the vocalist, then how did you keep your vocals in check?
I'm to be honest, mate, I'm in a couple of tribute bands as well, so I would do practices for that, and I do like vocal warm-ups and stuff like that in the practice room every now and then, just like piano scales, like stuff like that.
But what about the times where you couldn't go to the practice room? You were just in your house. I was just wondering if you sing in the shower or you sing in the car or something like that.
To be honest, I sing all the time. It's a bit embarrassing, to be honest. I was like my neighbours will pass us on the stairwell in the flat, and they'll be like, "Oh, I heard you singing on." And I'll be like, "Oh, that's horrifically embarrassing," but you know.
So you've got a few Asbos in your name then?
Yeah, probably, mate. Yeah. But yeah, no, I just enjoy it. Keeps me happy, keeps me going, you know. So I mean, I can't exactly be belting out you know, like Pantera screaming and shouting on, like, but you know, like bit of bit of Duran maybe, you know, a little bit.
Nothing wrong with that. Grew up with them. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Back.
Right, that's great. Thank you very much for that, guys. So How was it to get together then and record the videos for the two singles? Where did you record them, and who did you enlist to help you?
So we
from Blinded.
Yeah, so basically, we sort of wanted to. We thought, well, we've upped the production value of the recordings, so we thought, well, we should probably do the same with like music videos and stuff. So we saw Dark North Media's sort of showreel of music videos that they do, and we met Candy, the guy that runs the business. So he did.
Is it around your area, or is it a UK company, or is it
just a UK company? Is it Barton under Humber? Candy's from. I don't know. We've been like twice, but yeah. So he basically did the music video for Blinded by Fate. We basically just rented out it was sort of like a rehearsal studio, but they basically had a room that had black curtains all the way around the perimeter of it. And he sort of got us set up underneath just sort of one single light, and you kind of got that cool lighting effect for that video. But he basically said that he sort of manages bands as well, and sort of pitched managing us as well. And he's sort of been a big help of organizing us and sort of taking us up to that next kind of level as well. And basically he kind of does all of our music videos for us, but he sort of manages us as well. So
do you guys need a lot of organizing? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're pretty useless.
It's good to have a timekeeper, but we're not that bad. We're not that bad.
No, we're not bad at all. I'm exaggerating, but.
So how long did it take to actually record the video? So if you started recording at 10 o'clock, would you be finished for 2, or is it like a 6 o'clock end? You must have been fed up playing that same song umpteen times.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Pretty efficient.
It sort of depends, really, doesn't it? It kind of depends where you are. If it's easy to kind of sort of get to it from, because I guess you kind of try and find locations that are sort of accessible by van, because you don't want to be sort of lugging a drum kit through, Sherwood Forest or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, but generally, like we did one in Manchester. Was it last week? Was that last weekend or weekend before?
Oh, the one with the rope with the guy chucking
in Brunswick Mill. Yeah. So
yeah,
that was the what was it? I can't even remember what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
The video that you did, Nick, last
building.
Yeah, the time to film it. I blacked out there. Yeah. So so that only took 4 hours. We rented the space for 4 hours. And so that was like, we've got this amount of time, let's bash these shots out. But because we do all of our videos with Candy, it's sort of easier to sort of get organized now, because we know how each other work. We sort of expect what sort of shot he's going to be taking. You take a few single shots, then some group shots or whatever, and then it all kind of comes together, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is it part of the music? Is it part of the being in the band that you enjoy, Johnny, doing the videos, or do you find it mind-numbing?
But the first, like the early ones we did when we were doing it all ourselves, we just had a GoPro, and like whoever wasn't in the shot would be the one filming it. Then we got a lyric video done when Ali joined, and then now we did one for Obsession. It was just like similar sort of setup, but with someone Ali knew. It's quite. I mean, it's quite a fun day. We got those done. Dave, wasn't it? I think. Mm-hmm. But then we did it with Canty, and it just like the level shut up, and so it's quite fun now. And I feel like we're all getting the hang of being in front of a camera as well, whereas we didn't really know what the hell we were doing before. We just sort of act like we're on stage and just try and capture it on film, like trying to make it look like a live show for now anyway, until we have production to maybe have explosions and whatever.
No, that's cool. Thanks very much. So what's next for TrendKill then? you're going to concentrate on the recording of the EP, but have you got like quite a lot of touring plans to promote this EP then? Is there anything that you can announce, or you got quite a few things in the back burner?
Yeah, we're just got to shit out loads of bangers really. Got the EP coming up and like loads of videos. And then we're just going to keep the momentum going. Eventually, probably do an album. But I don't know, the modern music scene's a bit weird, isn't it? Like, they sort of get like, if you release like an album, it's like you sort of forgot about after a week and all of that work. Whereas you could just release it one song at a time and then tie it up with a bow, the album at the end. So I don't know what the future is, but we're going to just keep pushing out content. That's our plan anyway, and keep gigging.
Yeah,
we've got that. We've got a tour in August, don't we?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So we're looking forward to that as well.
Are you headlining or are you supporting?
Plenty to keep us ticking over anyway.
Aye. Are you headlining or supporting the one in August?
We are supporting.
Okay.
I'm gonna get the dates up here.
Ever the professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think would be things.
So Bleeds Someone Dry, I believe.
Is it?
Like an Italian band?
They're from Italy, and I believe that it's from the 15th of August. It's from.
Cool.
I think it's up to 9 days now, so it's getting there. But all available information on our Facebook page because I'm disorganized and can't remember things. And
you turn your camera off as well. But
There you go.
So are you going to be playing places that you haven't played before?
I think
so. We've played a lot now. I mean, like Ali's played like in bands previously, so you've played pretty much a lot of venues in the country. TrendKill's done like not tours, but we've done it where like have like a gig a week with like Manchester, Leeds. I think we've done London. I'm not sure if we've done London. I was like in another band called Scarada for a short period. For a couple of years, sort of like disbanded now, but I've been all over with that. So we're used to gigging. We just need to hit everywhere really and frequently, so people like don't forget about us. Got to go back to the places you've already been, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a discussion that's came up a lot in interviews, like about whether releasing an album or whether just doing single 2 months later, single 2 months later, single 2 months, single. So it's just keeping the name constantly out there. But there's so many people out there that do like an album. They like the beginning, middle, and an end. So it's a tough one. But with the extra tools of you doing your videos as well, you're doing all the things right about keeping the name out there. So we shall see. I still
want to do an album. Like I like it when you've just got like it's like a little catalog, isn't it?
They
all belong together.
They're really expensive, but I really want to do one.
Yeah.
Well,
who knows?
Because if we do it, I know sound different.
Maybe with the results of the EP and stuff like that, you don't know. Has there been any kind of label interest?
Well, what were we on years ago? Was it Wormhole Death? I don't remember what.
We were almost about to seal something with Wormhole Death, but then COVID kicked in. And then I think we've just decided for now to do it independently because I mean it's the point now, isn't it, where they don't really want like the ones that can help out don't really want you until you're already like self-sufficient nowadays. So we'll do it on our own for now. I mean, it seems to be going all right. It's a bit pricey, like but I mean, it seems to be going fine. And hopefully, it'll pay off in the long run.
That's it. At least all the EP sales will be coming back into the band. So
it's good to get them. It's mainly just like because I want people to know our songs. So when we play gigs, it's like they're not just like who knows this.
That's it. I've only got one more question for you then. So before the internet, magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that some of the passion's been lost, or do you think that the internet's been a good thing for music and a good thing for TrendKill, for example?
Bad.
Yes,
I would say
yes
it's bad for making. Yeah, I would say it's bad for making money, but there hasn't been like this like sort of UK network, hasn't there? That's formed. I mean, it was probably always there. Like, especially I've noticed it when like I know when I was in Scarada, the new o0f scene, it's like up and down the country, and you turn up to a gig and everyone knows each other. It's like, what is this? And I feel like it's getting like that with like the heavier scene as well. It probably already is. We might not be just part of that little bit, but I mean, we've got a good scene in Newcastle. All the bands sort of like network really well. Yeah, I mean, we always get on with the bands, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I was going off topic there.
No, I think I've just when you said Trillions there, I'm sure a band that I know very, very well, Dog Tired from Edinburgh. I think they've played Trillions as well.
Played with them before.
Yeah,
it's cracking venue, Trillions. Like it's cracking. It's great. But this is it. They're like you.
Are they like very AC/DC like? Because I think we played with them at Trills.
Dog Tired are more like Machine Head, Pantera. They're like yourselves in terms of heaviness, to be honest with you. No.
This other band was also Chanel women.
So sorry, Ali, what were you saying about
like when you think about the usefulness of, say, like Spotify, social media, you can reach a lot of people nowadays. I guess it's just the people behind it, because I guess you'll still get the same passionate people, that we're doing it the old-fashioned way, back in the 80s and the 90s. But you
weren't around then.
That kind of stuff. You what? Sorry?
You weren't around then.
Not at all. I just I like all of like I think that the thing nowadays that's hard for bands is that back then in the 80s and 90s, like the market wasn't as oversaturated. There were all of these bands sort of kicking about, was there? And you basically got signed off, being talented. Whereas now, there's loads of talented people out there, like doing their own thing.
It's like
now it's like, well, there's loads of good bands out there. Why should I pick you? So you've just got to work hard and keep at it and just
keep your name out there. Keep your name out there. But I mean, you're definitely right. I mean, in the 80s and 90s, you would send a pound note to a band, and a couple of days later you would get a demo tape and you would listen to it and you were like, don't know if I like it. But because you've invested in it, you'll listen to it again and listen to it again and then make up your mind. Whereas now, like you say, Spotify, click, oh no, that shit, 6 to 10 seconds, you've instantly dismissed the band.
Yeah.
Because there's a million bands out there doing the exact same thing. But it must be brilliant for you guys, seeing that you've got fans in Mexico and Australia and the Philippines and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's quality, man. It's great. Great.
It's pretty mad, like.
Yeah. But that's what the internet can do now. Your music can be played anywhere. So like I say, send it to us and we'll play it on the radio as well. We've got DJs in America and we've got DJs here as well. So I'll get to airplay. But just a last question then. The two singles that you just released, but also the EP that you're going to be recording, then we'll start with you, Johnny. What guitar are you going to be using? What's your setup? What pedals do you use, etc.?
You've got my guitar at the minute. You nicked it to play Megadeth riffs. But yeah, but yeah, it's I did use. I have like one of those Dean from Hells, and it was like the Floyd was broken on it for a few years because I stupidly bought the wrong thing for it and then just put it in the corner. But I finally fixed it. So I use that for those two tunes. But for the EP, I've used Stripey for the whole thing. Just it sounds the best. Whammy bar's a bit loose, like it does rattle about, but it sounds good. It plays nice.
Is that a 6 or 7 string?
6, unfortunately. I mean, I wouldn't mind a 7, but more.
What do you think about that, Ali? Should we give him another string, or he's not technical enough? He's not a good enough guitar player for 7.
To be honest, I think you could give Johnny a sitar and it would sound heavy as fuck, mate. Like, not gonna lie.
So what pedals and amps do you have, Johnny?
I mean, we ended up using because Sam at the studio and Ali has a Kemper, so we ended up using a Kemper for the current recording, just because I use this Blackstar HD100 live, and it sounds mint. But like you probably heard on Black Moon in the first EP, you just can't capture it. It just sounds like naff when you're trying to record it. But yeah, it sounds mint live. But we just use the Kemper because you can just take it's got like a cab emulator on it. You can just make it And I mean, I got to the point, I used to be like really picky about was it valve amp or not, and now I'm just like plug in, put a bit of reverb on it, and go ham.
So this 9-gig tour in August, then, how many guitars are you going to take with you?
Probably just Stripey and maybe a spare. Yeah, it'll do the job. I'll just bring spares.
You've got that Lightning Razorback as well, don't you? Or is that an ML
Yeah,
as well?
I don't like it because it's the proper Dean. It's like the Dean from Hell, and I feel like I'm just like ripping off Dimebag using that. So, I don't know.
Ali, does he panic if he breaks a guitar string? Does he panic?
Just do 0
Have you broken a guitar string since I've been in the band at a gig? I don't think you have.
I've been pretty good, but I have in the past. I remember once I for some reason I have this like Strat with like, well, they're meant to be nice pickups, but it sound a bit naff to me. But I use that. I had that as a backup guitar, and like it snapped a string, and I ended up having to play like the final song on this Strat, and obviously it's been profiled for like proper bluesy music, and it sounded like very cutting and awful. So I just try not to break strings now and just hope for the best.
He moisturizes his hands 9 times a day so that he doesn't snap a string.
Good stuff. But what about you, Ali? With you being a vocalist, then have you went through a range of microphones before you've got a microphone that you like the particular sound of, or are you just like, give me an SM58 and I'll fucking sing it into it?
So I'll use like an SM58 live. Just because you can't go wrong with them, really, can you? Like, they do the job, don't they? But just bought an SM7B because I was kind of thinking that they're good microphones for vocals, like clean vocals, screaming vocals. But then, you know, if you were wanting to do like stuff like yourself, you know, like say if it was like radio or podcast or whatever, you know, you can use them for them as well. So I just find like it's a good all-round microphone, to be honest.
And it costs you a few quid.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, remortgage the house. But...
cool. Now, listen, guys.
I've just acquired Jordan, the new bass player. I've acquired his cab. I covered him for one of the music videos, and now I have a nice orange cab.
Oh yeah, you did. You bought Jordan.
Some fresh gear. I haven't bought new stuff. I look forward to getting like Tell and Jason, but I haven't got to that point yet.
Good stuff. Listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. So now you know the next step. The next thing to do is send me an MP3 and we'll play it. This will go on to Moshville Times, all their socials, Twitter, Instagram, all the rest of it, Facebook. And I've got all my socials as well. So, and I'll send you guys the links as well. So I will certainly do what we can for TrendKill, because you deserve to be heard. I mean, I saw the viewing figures for your singles on YouTube. So there's a lot of interest in the band. So good on you.
No, really appreciate it, mate. Much appreciated, but pleasure. And hopefully we'll have a chat again soon.
Maybe face to face when you come up to Glasgow.
There we go. Sounds like a plan to me.
That would be fun.
Do you know what?
This is quite new to me, these sort of like video interviews. So we'll have to do more of them. Get practiced at them.
That's it.
Not forget the questions halfway through answering them.
There is that. But see, when you do come up to Glasgow, it's your round. All right.
That sounds like a plan, mate. No bother.
Right. Cheers. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
Pleasure, mate. Catch you later.
Cheers.